Hey guys, welcome to my new podcast, Creating Art Out of Life with me, Elena V. I'm a film director and dancer from the Philippines, and I've made this platform to celebrate life and art. I'll be having eye-opening, inspiring, and fun conversations about what artists go through in life and how we use it to create masterpieces. After all, love and pain is where art blooms most. If you're watching this on YouTube, please do subscribe. And if you're listening to this on Spotify, please do follow. You can also follow at e.v.world on Instagram for podcast clips and my own Instagram as well, at Elena Virata. Your support would mean the world to me. And now I'll leave you to it. I hope you enjoy this episode. Peace. Okay, we are rolling. Guys, I am so freaking excited to have this guest on. My guest today is the true definition of what they call a content queen. But for real, she honestly has one of the most creative, ingenious brains I've ever had, witnessed. And it blows my mind still till this day how she comes up with all these ideas. She's not just a content creator. She's a host, a radio DJ, director, fashion killer, businesswoman, comedian, lahat na. I've known her since I was...
I paid her to say that.
Yeah, she paid me to write all of this. I've known her since I was a kid, and I consider her to be a big sister. We have Miss Jaz Reyes on the show. Thank you so much for being here.
It's an honor.
Wow.
If you hear the beeps outside, I was sponsored by G-Liners. So
Yes.
that's how I got here.
Thank you, G-Liner.
Thank you so much, G-Liner.
We have
and
Edsa right
Nikki.
outside.
Yes.
No, but really, it is an honor to have her here because Jaz is normally a jokester, super colette and everything. So to have her here and be a little bit more personal with me is honestly going to be, it's just different. You're going to see, I guess, a little bit more personal side to Jaz. I don't know if you're very open as much when you're out there as a content creator or in events.
I think if you're going to have to deal with the creative space, you have to be open with your emotions.
For sure.
Either way. But yeah, no, I get it. We are open, and I think you can relate to it. You are open, but in your own space, in your own bubble, in your own creative
Comfort.
output. Yeah. But with other people, it actually is, I think we take on more an observer role because we would like to get what we can from everything else because everything else is inspiration.
Yeah.
You're an inspiration too.
Wow.
And it's true, I she said,
It's not about me.
Elena, I do treat Elena like she is my little sister as well. Because I grew up with no sister. I eventually had one sister because of my gay brother, but that is not counted. And as an Asian, being able to express emotions, it's not in our DNA.
It's true.
We gotta keep.
Yeah, even my because I also was in a Chinese school. We grew up in a Chinese school, and even with my best friends, the Chinese culture is very close talaga. Tui. So I wanted to start off by saying, how are you? And I know, I don't know how your life is now that, things are picking up since the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
Have you been super duper booked all the time? How have you been?
I think I was majorly more booked and busy in the pandemic, which is ironic, right? Because a lot of things really stopped and didn't happen. But I think because we were forced to have that pause, the hustle and bustle of everything else that wasn't important in the craft made the craft take center place. Mm-hmm. And the focus was good. But then now we're back to real life. There's a lot of things that's happening. But then when you think about it, are those the things that help you? That you want? Are those the things that that'll help you try to reach whatever goal that you really wanted when you're reflecting in the pandemic, right? What was important?
Choice.
Over in the pandemic, I think that was probably the only time where art was really appreciated.
Yeah.
It was put in the forefront. We had musicals online, and it was the big thing. We had music or artists singing their songs for pro bono, whatever, and that gave comfort and stuff, and made you realize
it was so appreciated.
This is what art is about. It is needed, right? And now that we're back to how it was before, I think the struggle is really what do I keep from the pandemic that helped me personally versus everything else that may look
It's like
enticing.
noise.
Yeah, it may look enticing, but we're not really sure if it is probably the noise we want, the energy we need
Yeah.
in our lives or in our goals.
No, you're right. And I
Yeah.
think because you are trying to pursue a lot of things, like it's hard for a lot of us, like as artists. We're trying to make money, we're trying to make relations, and then it kind of gets lost in translation what you really want to do and what you really want to become.
So thinking of the art is one thing, making the art is another, putting the art out is also another step. So you have all these barriers in front of you before it's actually out there.
Yeah.
And if you're chasing after already step 28
Yeah.
and you haven't even done step 2 or step 1, I think it's a very dangerous position that you're putting yourself
For
at.
sure. I think that's when you're setting your mind on the result. Like you're not thinking about the process of doing it anymore.
Yeah.
Because you're like, okay, I need to get this brand already. But
Yeah.
hold on. Before we get there, we're already diving straight
I
into
know.
it. Before we get there, let's back it up a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Let's back it up. I think juggling all of these things has always been, it's not new to you. It's not like, oh, only recently you were doing all of these things. Just to start up in the beginning, like, I've known you for so long, right? And you've always just been, I don't know, like you've just been excelling in everything. You've always like cut yourself so thinly to try to do everything. Because if you guys didn't know, Jaz was actually student council
God, she's a
president
leader.
and a theater club
She's
president.
She's a Democrat and a dramatic person.
Like back then, did you always have that mentality that you needed to push yourself to the limit?
Oh,
Like
yeah.
you needed to be at this kind of standard? Like where did that mentality come from?
I think it's growing up at home, and so both my brothers excel in their school, and my mom and my brothers all kind of aren't from that one school, right? So when we're at the dinner table and they talk about things or what happened in school, I'm always kind of left out because there's nothing really to talk about. Because first they can't relate because they don't go there. And second, I wasn't the one that would get honors. Like I already knew. I was like, this ain't for me. Like it's just not staying in. It's just not the path, I guess, that my brain works.
Yeah.
So I had to find other ways, and those other ways that I found was just so much fun. Was anything apart from academics. So if
Extracurricular.
yeah, so if it's clubs or extracurricular outside of school, it excited me way more because I thought of it as, okay, like high school's high school, but what is the use of studying in high school? Okay, to get to a good college. Okay, now to get to a good college, is there another way that I can, achieve certain things where I can be accepted to colleges that I dream of?
Yeah.
And I was thinking, if I become, I guess, more well-rounded in other aspects, especially if I get to be able to apply myself outside of school, I think that would be the best, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's what I was thinking when I was in high school. I was like, okay, you go to school so you can get a good job, right?
Yeah.
So what if I already start the job now? What
Yeah.
if I'm doing all these things to showcase other things than my mental academic ability?
Yeah.
So it was in dramatic skill because I guess I do love the art of acting. When I watch movies, I sometimes have to do 1 or 2 takes of it because it's either when I watch a movie, I'm just focused on the actor and seeing the actors around them and see how they built the character and how they're acting out the character, especially for those who don't have lines. So that's what my brain is thinking when I'm watching the movie, and I'm not actually enjoying the movie, so I have to do another run.
Yeah, I get you.
Because
I do that
right?
all the time.
Yeah, right.
You're studying it.
Apart from that, it's like the lighting and stuff like that. That came after, but before that, it was just really acting. It's like, how do I get that emotion translated out to an audience? And I
Yeah.
thought that was so fun in theater. So that was the thing there. And for I guess in the leadership roles, I do like talking to people. I do like being able to assemble things together and organize things, and see it come to life. I just thought that was quite appealing, and also because we went to a very conservative Christian school, and I was like, we gotta make some changes here.
Yeah.
So let's try to push
true.
for those changes. They didn't happen because it's still very conservative, run by nuns. But she tried.
She tried. No.
Yeah.
And I respect that. I mean, you've always been like a little bit against, well, no, very much against the grain.
I am.
Ever since.
I am.
And I'd gravitate towards people like that in my school. All my friends are like that. So, do you think that the leadership and the artistic skills really stemmed there?
I guess, well, now, those things in high school piqued certain interests. Because it piqued interests, in Ateneo, I eventually went into comm arts because they have different tracks like film, PR, media law, and
Just kidding.
journalism and stuff.
Respect.
So I was like, okay, this is perfect. Because like I don't have to choose. I like all of those
versatile.
things. Yeah,
Yeah.
they all kind of seem really great for me. So that's where it went, and eventually honed into a lot of clubs. So I tried Sangu, which is also the leadership org, and then I also went to another leadership org that trains leaders, and I also was doing Tanghalan Ateneo, which was straight plays at that
Yeah,
time.
I really don't know how she does it.
Oh,
Like,
bro, like our schedule was tough. Like especially when I auditioned and got the lead role for the
Oo nga pala,
Shakespeare.
TA ka nga pala.
Yeah, the Shakespeare adaptation of 12th Night, aka She's the Man. And I memorized that's the whole shit because I remember scenes that they took to make, Duke Orsino fall in love with Viola and all of that shit. Like, we had to do it in Shakespeare language.
Damn.
So I think the training of like those leadership roles honed myself in being disciplined.
Oh, yeah.
And especially in the art of theater as well. But with theater, I just really loved being able to dissect things, create things from a character, from my point of view, for the character, and see where it goes. And yeah, because of all those like orgs and whatnot and people that I was introduced with, they other types of peaks or interests happened. Like
Yeah.
I met someone who told me like, oh, like there's this like radio audition happening, and I was like, I've never listened to the radio because I don't drive to school. I used to
Yeah.
walk to school all the time, so I only got my own like MP3 downloaded from LimeWire back then.
LimeWire.
Yeah, bro. And I auditioned, got in, thankfully, and then those people that was in that program told me, oh, there's this audition for courtside reporting, and then I was
Oh,
like,
damn, I totally forgot all these
yeah,
things
I was
that
like,
she
oh,
did.
okay, let's try it out. Like, what's the worst thing we can do? I don't play basketball, never watch a game, and I was like, I just wanted to practice whatever I was trying to learn, because like in college you're also thinking, okay, like I'm learning and I'm studying all these things so that I can get a job,
Yeah.
right? I was thinking, oh, if I can get a job within the field as a sophomore, I could probably be okay. Like, even though I don't graduate with honors, right? So I was like, maybe we should do this. So I auditioned, and then
This was sophomore year?
yeah, sophomore year, like the summer of freshman year. So when I came in as a sophomore, I was already doing it. So when we went to audition, the lady was like, so if y'all don't know anything about basketball, you know what you got to do? I was like, okay, I'm ready to go out. I'm ready to bounce. She was like, be a good liar. So I was like, oh, shit, I can do that. I can do that and more. So embellishment is what happened in that audition. And I don't know how, but I got it. I guess.
When you entered college, right? Were you actually a radio DJ first, and then you were a
It was
courtside
around the
reporter?
same time. Like, auditioning for radio happened first, and then at the same time,
That
at the
opportunity
same
came.
summer, yeah, that opportunity with the courtside happened. I was like, oh, let's do it. So now I got those two things that I had to worry about coming in to sophomore year of college, and I was like, oh, I'm practicing what we preach, ladies and gentlemen.
How were you able to juggle that? Like, you not everyone was working in
Yeah.
college.
I think it's because before that I would do hosting gigs too. And that was like so it started picking up sophomore year, but I would do hosting gigs and they would like trade me in for like GCs or like shots in the party.
I mean, that's
or,
how
like,
you all start, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, dude, yeah. And then so
shots.
yeah, it just all kind of rolled into one. And to make that happen, like, so what my schedule would be, I would have to squish all my classes in the morning because I had afternoon radio and then or evening radio. So I remember there was a certain part where I have never eaten dinner with my family because my radio shift was around 6 p.m. to 9 p.m.
Damn.
And there was a time where my radio shift was 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. So I had to finish all my classes before 3.
Damn, girl.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was just, well, I was dancing, but like,
Yeah.
it's not like I was like working for a company like that
Yeah.
serious. So,
But it was the training I got from theater in the first year of college that helped me because we would practice until around 1 or 2 a.m.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
I remember.
We would rehearse from 1 or 2 a.m. My director would make me cry sometimes, and so I was like, "This is easy. Like, I clock out at 9. Great. Like that we can do that. We can work with that." And that probably the only regret is that I didn't really get to be able to be around my friends so much.
Yeah.
Because I had such a limited time for breaks.
You didn't really get to experience like
Yeah.
college.
Yeah. Like if I'm gonna go to a
You
college
didn't go to like the parties.
I'm
that
hosting
much.
the party.
I see.
So I'm not partying. And then after the party, I'm done. Like I wanna go home and rest.
Yeah, you're tired.
Because I have to prepare either for a game the next day, or I have to catch up with schoolwork. So
But are you happy though that you were able to just focus on those things though? Because I think a lot of those things brought you to where you are today.
I think I did say my only regret, which was being able to like just enjoy being a kid.
Yeah.
Enjoy that college experience where it's like, I don't know what to do today. You want to play Monopoly Go? Like, like all that stuff. I mean, I got to experience some of it, but it wasn't like a full-fledged experience.
Yeah.
But that's only it. But then now with my type of work, I guess I am doing that now.
Yeah.
With the people I work with, and the friends that I
Yeah,
have.
you're a sociable person. Like you go out and have fun. You know how to have fun. Like despite your work schedule.
I think it's more of like I work hard and play hard.
That's how it should be,
yeah,
y'all.
Yeah, work hard, play
That's
hard.
how you survive this life.
Just extremes, bro. Just extremes.
Just extremes.
Middle? What's that? Middle ground? Nah.
We don't have balance. I'm just
Away
kidding.
nga tayo ngayon. Boring na to. Walang away.
Nag-away. So back on, talking about your schedule and everything, like we talked about this before, like routine, you like routine. Like as that, like when we're talking about your radio, you love that you had this morning thing all the time. Like, is routine very important for you? Like, has it been like is that something your mind and your brain, your body has been used to, that you need to do this in the morning, you need to do this in the afternoon, and then at an evening? Like,
actually, no. I'm okay with being able to mix and match things. I think it's because like the reason why I do all of these things is because I get bored easily. So if I get
that's why.
Yeah, buti pa nga may boyfriend na pa ako eh.
Shout out to Soto, he's here helping. Thank you for being here.
I get tired I am an Aquarian, so I think that explains a lot of things. Like the weird thinking, and me trying
You're the
to...
second. Jano is also Aquarius.
Oh,
so
really?
We have a streak of Aquarius.
What's up? Aquarians are fun. Aquarians are fun. You don't know what to expect from them.
That's so
sometimes.
true.
And they're really good at hiding their emotions. So you're very spot on, especially in the intro where like we don't like showcase emotions. But I did say like our emotions is being spread out differently.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think because I think I've lived the motto of that famous saying, jack of all trades, master of none. But I think a lot of people don't know the full length of that quote, which is the jack of all trades, master of none, but it's always better than master of one.
Hey.
And it's true, and I
It's
really
so
live
true.
by it because there was a book that explained why it's good. And I think
Drop the book.
For those that probably are probably in the same position where it's like, oh, I have a passion here, there, and this, but most people say you got to focus on one thing and then excel at that. I don't think so, because there
I don't
wouldn't
either.
be such thing as like bioengineering. You know,
You have a good point there.
if this biologist wasn't interested in the mechanical side of these things. So
Yeah.
being able to piece those things together makes you create your own niche, or maybe a whole completely new category where people can dive in, and you can meet like-minded people. So
No,
yeah,
I super agree, because I mean, I'm the same way. You know, I do all these different things. I mean, like, now I have a fucking podcast. Like,
Yeah.
I just believe that why not maximize all the skills that you are blessed with? Like,
Oh, true.
you know, in this life, there's just so much to do.
Oh, true.
And like, I'm also like, I get bored easily, and
Yeah.
I want to learn new things all the time. So
I think honing all those different things, making you become a multifaceted person, not only makes you hella equipped for certain things, but makes you hella interesting. Yo, I'm not gonna date someone vanilla.
yeah.
Like, bruh.
And I think another thing about it is, and I think you would agree, is that learning these different arts and skills, like, it gives so much to your discipline. Like, the things that you've gotten
Oh,
from
totally.
hosting, from theater, each discipline has its own lessons.
totally.
Like, if I'm in Muay Thai, and I love Muay Thai, the discipline of, like, just the mental strength, like, just don't stop until the
yeah.
bell rings. Like, I think all these skills that you learn from different hobbies and arts really, like, build your own, like,
Yeah.
identity.
Exactly. So don't ever be embarrassed. I used to be embarrassed about it, because it's like
Embarrassed about what?
being only like having so many different things that I like, and
Okay, so,
doing
like, you're
so many
the
different
jack of
things.
all.
Yeah, and then people saying like that saying, the jack of all trades, master of none bullshit. And it's like, I was very insecure about it, because it's like, I don't like the thing that usually reverberates in my head is, I don't know what to do. I think that's what happens when people are like, I do this or that, I do like this, I kind of am interested in this, I don't know what to do. Like, they end up saying that, when it should be, oh, I like this and I like this and I like that.
There's a lot.
How do I create something where I can use all of that instead, and be empowered by it, versus being a little bit secluded or embarrassed by it. I used to be very embarrassed by it.
Bridging off of that, what you
Yeah.
said, like, having all these skills, then, like, how were you able to kind of realize, like, oh shit, content creation might be something that would encapsulate all of those things? Like, how did you bridge to realizing, like, your knack for social media?
I don't
and
know if I
content?
even have a knack for it. All I know is
Girl, don't
I just,
even.
I just like, honestly, I'm no cap. I'm telling you, like, there are days where I'm like, I don't think this is for me, because it's like,
I get you, though.
yeah,
There is that
'cause-
side to social
yeah,
media.
there is that side where the math side, or how we don't like that, and like the numbers side and stuff, and it eats you up, man.
Oh, yeah.
But I know what I like, I know what I envision, and I know what I want to do. That's for sure. And putting it out there is another thing. But I don't know if I would say, like, I'm technically like so I'm not the person who can tell you, like, oh, you have to post this way, you have to post that way, you have to do this 2 times. It's not for me.
Yeah.
Sometimes, like, oh, I'm inspired and I will be so focused on it that nothing else in the world matters. I just need to finish this thing.
Yeah, that is how you are.
And another passion of mine back then was I used to like art a lot. Like, I used to like working with my hands a lot, like crafting things, painting things, all of that stuff. And it took a back seat because of all the media stuff. And when the pandemic hit, like,
You went back to
I
it?
went back to it, and it was fun, and I tried to apply that with social media. So something that's, I guess, more traditional, more handsy, I guess.
Yeah, you
more
do a lot of
crafty.
arts and crafts.
Yeah, and then try to turn it to something modern. So it all came together, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to say, I guess sometimes luck plays an important part of, like, getting whatever the views you like, maybe whatever it is, but it wasn't the goal.
Yeah,
It
for
was
sure.
never
You were
the
just
thing.
doing your thing.
Actually, I wasn't even embarrassed to, like, to like showcase it because it's really odd.
Your arts and crafts.
Yeah, because it's really freaking odd. Like it's weird.
It's odd, but so freaking good. Like there's nothing like it. Like
that's the thing.
Who
like,
the hell does that?
Yeah, but before I was like, oh, exactly. Who the hell does that? Who the hell will like this?
Who makes a fried chicken like Prada bag?
Yeah, like so, like stuff like that. So it's like, who the heck would enjoy this? And I thought so long and hard before sharing it, and that's why I needed to explain, the process of actually like thinking, making, and then sharing the art, because it's always a struggle, and that's
of course
what I had to do. And I think until now, like with content, that's still the thing, like thinking of it, then doing it, and then you get the results, and you're like not so happy.
Well, we'll definitely like dive into that, like because that is a whole thing to dive into. But I wanted to also know, like, when did you realize, like, you also kind of started popping on like social media? When did you realize, like, oh shit, like people are actually appreciating my work?
I don't know, when they started sharing it.
Was it like did you like pop off also even more in the pandemic?
Yeah, I guess people were freaking bored and they needed something. And like I said, like I think in the pandemic, art surfaced again as something important versus now, which I feel like it's taken a back seat yet again. But yeah, it popped off, and I guess it resonated. The weirdness resonated with people, so the niche found its crowd, and because of that, it kind of fueled me to think of more, do more, like to experiment a little bit more, and then now it expanded to like reels, which is way harder.
Yeah.
I mean, but it's also a good challenge because I did study film in college, so I had that practice already.
Yeah.
And since I did acting, I knew how to direct because I did leadership roles as well. So that all kind of came together.
Yeah.
So all of that, I think, contributed to what happened probably.
Yeah.
Over in the pandemic. But again, like I wasn't looking for it. I was just wanting
happened.
I guess I was bored. Oh, we were all bored, man.
But I think that feels.
But sometimes boredom is good.
Yeah.
Boredom's great.
And I feel like that feels the best also when it just happens. And I feel like even with my art, I find.
I think it should. I
Yeah.
think it should just always happen.
Because even with my art, when I do things just because I'm doing it and I don't think about it, like I don't think, what will people think about this? I just put it out.
Yeah.
And like I just put my heart in the making of it
Yeah.
and just doing it
And
because
it'll
I'm
just
doing
resonate.
it. Yeah, like, and then those are the things that people love.
Yeah.
Like that's what I realized. Like the things that I don't think about what people would think about, those are the things that become what people like.
I think there is, because a lot of the things that we hold in our phone right now can feel a little bit superficial.
Yeah.
Like
Everyone's trying to put their foot,
yeah,
like their best foot forward.
Not saying they're fake.
Yeah.
When I say superficial, it just doesn't resonate enough to feel like you're really communicating with me. So what is that thing that you need to stop that endless, mindless scroll of a person? And I think if you find that with whatever you do, and especially the most important part is the honesty that you put into the work.
Oh yes.
And not honesty because of you're just like spurting out all your emotions, and when we're talking about honesty, it has to be something dramatic. No, honesty can be funny, honesty could be weird, honesty could be fashionable, but that's hard to find in the world of everything that's quite superficial.
For sure.
And I think that's why it resonated, because while you're making the entire thing, the whole process is very raw,
Yeah.
and honest.
And I think, like, when you, that's the whole reason why I'm doing this
Yeah.
podcast. Like, I think that it does help people to hear some honest shit. Like,
Oh, shit.
And to see, like, another side of public figures, I feel. I think it's so important that people see you as humans.
Yeah, because they all think I'm suplada and
Do
I'm
they?
a bitch. No, because I think I have a bitch face. So,
Well,
like,
girl, look at us.
girl,
We both have
that's
it.
why I don't think anyone approaches me ever. Like, they'll just send me a message, be like, I saw you here and there. And I'm like, why the fuck didn't you say hi? Like, we would have made a day out of it. And then,
I think we both have resting bitch faces.
Yeah, no, I always get that. So I was like, oh, that sucks. But if you know me in real life, like, there's not one moment where it's not joke time. I'm like, it's
She's
all like,
super joke time.
it's joke time.
But
this
it's
is
always
really,
It's
Yeah.
always a good time though.
That's
with
why I'm
her.
sweating right now because it's really hard to be serious.
Oh shit. Is
No,
it
no, just kidding.
Well, we don't have to be that serious. But I also wanted to ask, like, just on that you said that you like the challenge also sometimes. Is that kind of a inspiration to you? Like, or where would you say that you get most inspired?
Oh,
Like,
no, no, no. The drive, the challenge, when you mentioned the routine, like I don't really like a routine. But my routine is I want to be doing something every day. I want to be able to be useful as
A
a human
person.
being every day. If I feel like the most uncomfortable times for me is when I'm not doing anything, which is ironic because
I don't like
sometimes
not doing anything.
you really
Oh my
need
god,
that.
we're like the same.
Yeah, but we really need that pause.
Yeah.
Because like when you say you burn out of either energy or ideas, and it's because you keep this constant thing that have to do something, but the thing that you're doing is probably not the most quality thing.
Yeah.
That's the hardest part, to be comfortable with the fact that it's okay
Yeah.
not to be so hella productive
Yeah.
every single day.
Chunks of like breaks are actually needed for your brain. Like I was reading this book, Deep Work, and it's so important to schedule your time where okay, you're doing deep work for around 2-3 hours. You should at least have like an hour where you're just like having a little coffee, going for a
Yeah.
walk. Like
Yeah.
it's important to let your brain just like decompress. Or else if you do the next thing, then you're gonna get overwhelmed.
Exactly.
I guess this brings us to the important topic. I feel like would help a lot of people is really talking about like the burnout, the social media burnout, the that I feel, of course, I'm sure that you face, a lot. I mean, social media and content that is part of a huge,
Yeah.
part of your work. So do you feel like it is very often for you to feel this burnout, this
Kaya nga nandito
overwhelming?
ako, guys, kasi burned out ako. Ayaw magtrabaho.
Yeah. Sabi niya, dito na lang ako.
Hindi muna ako mag-podcast muna ako dito. Mag-vape ako. Charot. Oh yeah, no, I'm telling you honestly, like I think I'm currently at that phase. Like I am burnt the bug out.
Yeah, because we called you like the other maybe 2 months ago,
Yeah.
and I know that you were really burned out.
was burned
Like
out.
you were really at that point, and me and Yas were trying to tell you like, okay, try to just put your phone down, like listen to this this
Yeah.
podcast, like is that how you have been feeling lately a lot?
Yeah, because it's like I said, everything's come back to normal. It wasn't like the pandemic. So the movings and the happenings are different. The way that people consume things are also quite different on social media, I feel like. Like we've gone back to the spot where it's like anything that's kind of just brainless works.
Yeah,
Sometimes.
anything that's fast.
And I'm not shitting on those types of content. It's great. I like those I consume them as well. So it's always trying to get back to the place where it was.
You're right. No, I mean, like, even with me, like, I don't just create like whatever stuff. Like, I actually put a lot of effort into
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
and so I feel you when it's like you put so much time and effort, and
It's like not getting the traction.
yeah, it's not
And I
getting
think
the
people
traction.
Can relate to that.
Oh, of course.
As
And
much as you say that numbers don't matter, and I preach that too.
Yeah.
Like numbers don't matter, and I preach that because I say it to myself every day. Saying it and believing it are two different things. You really do have to work on it. Nothing I can say can help you change your mind. Nothing I can say can help me change my mind. But I want to try to do that, and I want
Yeah.
to try to achieve that. But sometimes you fall in and out of a good headspace.
of
And-
course, especially when numbers are associated with your job.
Oh yeah. Oh man.
Does that make it even more difficult? Because I don't really do much of that. When you associate a brand, a client that's like asking you for your insights and all that
Yeah.
stuff, does that add a whole layer of like, fuck, like this,
It's I mean, it's kind of stressful because of course you want to perform well, and with whatever project I have, I always try to make whatever thing that I want to communicate less ad-y as possible.
Yeah, for sure.
And try to offer whatever viewers some sort of like, it's an ad, but it's still interesting because you're doing something that I don't normally see.
Yeah.
Right? So for example, like I got a lace contract, and before I did
Why didn't you bring some?
I know. I still have, like, we don't eat the bags too. I should have brought some. But like, I remember, before really accepting it, or most jobs, I would say that, oh, you should check out the content because it's kind of funky. So if it doesn't align, I don't think I'm the right person to represent you, right? So
So you say that from the start already.
I kind of briefed them because, like, you gotta know.
Yeah.
You gotta know, like, it's gonna be weird.
Yeah.
So thankfully they were so open to that, and their whole campaign was about the summer. And I've seen the stuff that's been put out there already, and I was like, okay, since all of these people already did that, what can I do that can kind of refresh whoever's looking at that whole, like, hashtag or feed? So I made, like, the lace bikini. So I made bikini out of lace chips.
I don't know.
I had to eat 3 bags. Yeah, I had to eat 3 bags with the help of my mom.
Wait, quickly. I missed this question, but now we're on that topic.
Yeah.
I wanted to know also, how does your brain work? Like, a brand gives you a brief.
Yeah.
How does your brain work? Like,
I don't know.
What's the process? So, okay, brand, give you
Yeah.
brief.
Okay,
I give you a
let's
brief.
get this exercise.
Okay,
Like give
let's have a
me,
little small-
give me a freaking brand. and
Okay,
give me, like, everything.
let's do a quick exercise of how
Let's see.
Jazz's
I don't
brain
know
works.
too. Okay, let's see.
Okay, let's see. Let's think of a brand. What's a fun brand?
What's so fun? Think of it. Shoot ideas.
Aqua Flask. Another one? What do you want? Aqua Flask. All right. So, Aqua Flask. I am Aqua Flask.
Okay.
Jazz, the brief is we want these colors to be highlighted during the summer, and we want everybody to feel that summer feeling when you see these colors.
Okay.
I pass that brief on to you. How does
Okay.
Jazz work?
So usually what they do is they give you like they give you that brief, right? And then you think, okay, you think summer, and then you think, they usually have some lame hashtag, to be honest. No, don't put that in. But like, I wish I could make the hashtags for them. Honestly, there are days where it's like, can I make like this hashtag? Because I think it's funner. Like,
You would probably be really great with
like,
all those hashtags.
some of the hashtags is like, oh man, they could have done so much more with this other hashtag. But I'm not gonna shit on that. But let's say Aqua Flask. If they're thinking of like a fashion angle, I would be like, okay, for every time the Aqua Flask is being passed around, it's like a different outfit, but with the same color of the Aqua Flask. So it's like I can have one in my hand, I'll toss it up, I'll catch it from the other hand. The Aqua Flask, another color, and my outfit's different. Like, it's a different outfit that is pertaining to that color. Up, down, up, down.
How about if the objective is we need to have people get this colorway even if they have another colorway? Like, it has to be the summer colorway.
That's interesting.
Because you know how, like, Aqua Flask has different colorways. So their objective is, how can we
Oh, they
get...
have like the sleeve things, right?
Yes.
Right?
How do we get our customers to... Our objective is get our customers to buy another one. This colorway, though.
Oh, okay.
For summer.
Well, I was thinking like, if let's say, you know those like characters that you can put like, there's like a gumagana na character, yung parang
Like GTA.
yeah, and then you're like picking the outfits.
Yeah.
So you're picking like
That's
you're
like so
customizing,
Jazz.
and then you're customizing your Aqua Flask too on the side.
And
So
then
it's
people would be
you
like,
can-
yo, that's
yeah.
sick.
Like if my character's like, oh, I got a pink top on, like another bottom that's like blue, then my Aqua Flask that I'm holding is white, and you're like, your Aqua Flask is not, like the VO is like, the Aqua Flask needs to change. So like you customize it too, you change that too with whatever I'm shooting.
Is
So
that
that's where
how
it's going.
fast your brain works when you're given things? Or do you sit on it? Like, do you...
If it's like that, that's kind of easy. Like,
Yeah,
for
you're right.
me, like you can go do anything. Like, summer is quite fun, so it either could be summer fashion or summer activities, right? Or summer food sometimes. But things that are harder, let's say I haven't released it yet. I'm doing something with air conditioning, bro.
Uy,
Paano
hirap
po ang
nun.
air conditioning?
Hirap nun.
Paano? And then you have to tell them, like, okay, it needs to be about the air conditioning, right? The fact that it has, like, it's an air filter, it's an inverter.
How
It
do you
looks
make that
great
interesting?
in your room.
So how do you make that
So
interesting?
I'll show you because I haven't released it yet, but it's this.
Yo, how the fuck do you come up with this stuff?
Cause okay, I'm showing her now just that video because like I think you can put it.
That's so
there,
cool.
But like
She made
I'll send it to
aircons
you.
cool.
I'll send it to you because the aircon it wasn't even selling this fact, but I thought it was very interesting, and I was like, why aren't you selling the fact that this is the main thing, that this is the main message? Because their main message, they want it to be that it looks as aesthetic in your room. But I'm like, aircons in general, they look and they're shaped kind of similar.
Yeah.
And when you're building a room,
They don't really think
they
about.
understand that. Either they put a cover on top of the aircon, like they put like a bar, like a
Yeah.
wooden bar over it just to cover the whole thing.
Yeah.
Or not, right? But then the fact that this aircon is windless is amazing. A windless,
Windless.
it's windless, sis.
How the hell is that an aircon
Yun
without
nga.
wind?
And the thing is nga,
What comes out of it?
Because of the holes of the aircon. And that's why I zoomed in through the holes, and that's where the air comes out. Bro. So I was like,
Ingenious.
that's where my jump off point was.
Galing.
But
So you find like little.
yeah, about the product. And I was like, oh, that's freaking interesting. Like, you should jump off of that and see where that takes you visually. I think that's more interesting. But I'm sure, like, the other influencers that are also part of this campaign will just, chilling.
I mean, to each his own. But this
To
girl
each their
cannot.
own.
This girl cannot live
fine.
with it.
Or
She
like-
needs something unique.
Or, like, you know what's tough also? Like, the Ogawa chair.
Yeah.
Yo, pero that was suerte
Wait, the
also.
one like that.
So stuff like that is also kind of like.
Is that where you were like levitating?
No, well, that was the levitating, but then the last one is the main point of it, which was yung kalikod ko, yung nagtatrend na photo kasama ni
Wait, do you
Dieter
have one in your
Ocampo.
house?
This one, yung kasama ni Dieter
Ah, yeah.
Ocampo. Ni John Lloyd.
Yo, I commented
Andun
on
sa
that.
likod ko.
You're
Tas
crazy.
nasa harap ko sila. Tapos sa harap ako naka-Ogawa. And this went around because it was...
Well, I'll put that on the.
Yeah, put that there. Because those things, though, like that just happens in the moment. Because, like, that's a trend right now. And how do I hop onto that trend?
So you're also also think
Oh,
that's factoring.
You gotta be conscious about what people are talking about. Because I think that is what resonates. But again, before you slide to that photo, I was like, okay, what is some crazy ass place I could put my chair? That's it. And then it looks visually stunning. Oh, when she's in space, it's visually like stunning. And then you swipe and it's just some janky ass Photoshop job. But it's not so the lighting is correct.
No, this
The
girl
skin
is
tone
so
correct,
crazy
sis.
with her editing.
Sis, the skin tone is and the lighting is correct.
Yo, your
Diba?
lighting was correct.
Look at my green top. It's the same as the flower at Dieter Ocampo's back. So, like, those details, though, that's where my pagka-arte comes in. Like, you can do a
crazy.
janky Photoshop job. Yeah, it's fine. It's still going to be funny. But then it's obviously like, it's still Photoshop. But if you do it a little bit more refined. you'll be
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Is it? So it's like, that's what I want. That's the only thing I
think
want.
it relates to. I was watching this talk with David Fincher, and they were basically commenting on his being a perfectionist, and he was like, I don't know why people fuss about that. It's not really being a perfectionist. It's like if you see a frame and there's something at the back that is just like unbalanced or it's taking my eye away from the subject, then that's not being a perfectionist. You're just fixing the frame.
Yeah, I
So I
agree.
think that's the same with us.
yeah.
Like, it's not like we're being like, yeah, there's a little bit of perfectionism,
Yeah.
but it's more of we want our overall output
Yeah.
to just be the
No,
best.
no. Because if I wanted to be perfect, I would have done so much more.
Yeah.
Like, I would have done so much more. But then I was like, yeah, no, let it fly. Like, it's real. It's like real time, everything. And it was honest. Like, honestly, I thought it was funny.
It's
like,
funny
let's
as
share
fuck.
this. Yeah.
He's always funny.
Yeah, so ganun na naman. So that happens also when getting these briefs. But there's sometimes brief where it's like, I don't know what to do with this, bro. I'm not sure where I can go with this. So I'm not sure if this is the right project for me or I am the right person for you. And I have to admit that sometimes with certain projects. Yeah.
I mean, I think honesty is way better than like being stuck with something you don't know what to do.
Yeah.
But thank you for that exercise.
Yeah.
back to
That's fun.
back to burnout and everything. We kind of just sidetracked, but I just wanted to, before we close up on burnout, like, how are you able to deal with it now? Like, now that you constantly have to get to those points like where you feel overwhelmed, like, are there practices and mental things that are helping you to deal with that so that you can keep going? Like what have you been kind of trying now?
Well, talk therapy is always great. Talk therapy, whether it's with my partner or whether it is with a friend.
Not keeping it inside.
Because, before I would talk therapy to myself, which is not helpful. I tried a psychiatrist, not helpful, because they're not creative people. Maybe if you give me a creative psychiatrist, maybe it'll work. But they're not creative people. I feel like my mind just goes everywhere while I'm talking and discussing. So
and they
I'm
can't
not
like
really,
piece it all together.
Yeah. So that. Another is trying to go back to the moment or the point in time where I'm like, where was I like the happiest? And how do I get back to that? Even go back to like, when as a child did I feel most happy? When was that? Like just walang care in the world. Nothing is at the back of your mind when you're doing something happy. Because sometimes when you're doing something that you're happy with, you still got problems in the back of your mind. So when is that moment where it's like unequivocally the best day, the best thing, or the best moment? You're just like, I'm so happy I'm doing this. Like, when was that?
Yeah. So like for you, what do you think about, like, or what is it that you bring yourself back to when you are at those levels?
Different things. I feel like I do feel very happy on stage. Like when I was acting, I really am very, very happy when I'm doing that. I just like all energy and focus and everything all being released out in that form.
Is that how you feel with events? Like do you feel like you're on stage?
I think with events when I'm hosting, I just want people to be happy. I just want to make jokes. I want to make sure the program
It's about them.
is running well as well. So it's really not about me, but just being able to. It's like a performance as well. Yeah. So it is happy at the moment. Syempre, I still get stage fright before I come in, but then it's also interesting because it's like it practices me doing ad-libs and figuring out how to make this moment a little bit more interesting, a little bit more fun. And you're around people, like-minded people. But yeah, when I was a kid, I try to go back to that. Or like when I'm making things, like I'm just focused on it. Like I don't really care about anything else, and I'm just really happy. So when we go back to those things where we feel the most proud of ourselves, what we do, and we're just like, I am unbeatable at this freaking moment. Try to go back to how to recreate that moment to you now. And I think if you are burnt out, like it's a good exercise to reflect on those moments where you feel the most proud of yourself, when you feel the most successful version of you. And because that, even thinking about it can help you inadvertently, I feel like. So talk therapy, that exercise helps. And it's also good to be able to just like accept certain things, I guess.
Like it's not about you. It's like there's some things you can't control.
Yeah, and accepting, I guess, also, like, for example, I feel like a lot of things, like right now, post-pandemic, there's a lot of things that are in your mind or on your plate that doesn't necessarily help in achieving
The
true
end goal.
happiness in your
True.
life. And you don't really get to pause and think about it. Like, let's say, like, nothing, like you're in the pandemic. Like what mattered in the pandemic? Good food, your people, not being sick. That is what we, I guess, should always think about. It's just that there's a lot of noise that's happening that doesn't help with the creative process, especially. So we all get burned out. And I think that's why I was burnt out, because it's going back again to that. And I'm like, I'm not used to it because I was so used to it in that arena during the pandemic where we really focused and honed into things that were really important. Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing that. I think that's going to help a lot of people. And thank you for
Hopefully.
being very open. Like,
Yeah.
again, this is not what she's used to.
I
So,
know.
but I feel like a lot of people are going to really find that helpful, especially for the people that are doing content.
Not alone.
Yeah, but you are very inspiring in that sense, and you are always excelling in everything that you do. So,
But everyone's crazy. In the
yeah, and
content world.
everyone Everyone is crazy.
Gotta get that shit. Gotta get that view. No, but I'm telling you, like, I've talked to a lot of content creators, way more following than I am, and they've all experienced that, and
For
they've
sure, it's
all had that moment where
Yeah.
they went cray cray.
yeah. I mean,
Bruh,
social media. Is
You
just,
know it too, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh
for sure.
yeah, freaking crazy.
You have to separate yourself. You
Yeah.
have to tell yourself, I am not who I am. Like I am not my social media. Like
Yeah, and I
your
think,
worth.
Yeah, to add to that, I know I'm extending your time, and
No,
you will
no.
edit this a lot, but I think what's important is the virtual reality and then the reality. Like,
Oh, yeah.
how much I've been taking care of my virtual reality.
You're not taking
I'm
that. You're not taking.
I was
Ooh, that's
really
a really.
taking care of my reality, and I was not happy with that. Like, I was not. I was reflecting on my relationships with people around me, and I was like, when was the last time I actually like
Talked.
just had a conversation or like reached out? And I haven't done that because, like, you know this, because I always just talk to you about this, is that I feel like this creative space is such a lonely space, because especially when you're making things,
Yeah.
you're really focused on like just making it work and making it happen.
Yeah.
And nothing else.
I'm always here.
because I wanted to finish the work.
Yeah.
And if you don't put the time in creating the work, it's not. So that's, I think, where like a lot of the like breakdowns happen, where
Yeah.
these things aren't balanced. The virtual reality and reality is not balanced, right? So I think I'm still trying to find that balance in everything. So when I'm with people, you would notice that I really don't touch my phone.
That's
at all.
how it should be. You
At
just be
all.
present.
Yeah.
Before we close it off,
Yeah.
I do want to have one last segment, and it's to speak quick.
Fine.
I think this is really for. I did this already before last episode. I'm gonna ask you some questions that I feel a person that looks up to you and wants to have your job, wants to have your kind of life would ask.
Don't.
Just don't.
Just don't.
Okay, first question.
Just don't do it.
First question. So, if I'm still very small and I want to grow on social media, how and where do you think I can start as a small creator that has no followers?
I think it has to start with absolutely you just not touching the phone first, but reflecting on who you are, what you like to do, and decide whether or not you are the content, or about like what you're doing, you are the content, or you want it kind of separate, which is like you and your art form as a con. You have to reflect on that.
Yeah, true.
Because whatever, it needs to come in naturally. Y'all can't force it. Like, if this young girl is like, oh, I want to be a content creator, and the mom thinks that, there is a lot of money in the beauty industry, and I'm not saying that she's not beautiful. I'm just saying, don't get ahead of me. If the mom goes, oh, you should do makeup tutorials, but it's just not her thing, like, it's just not gonna work. Or you can try to make it like, another angle is, if you're not good, if, for example, me as a mom, like, if my child is asking me that, right? If I know my child ain't good at putting on makeup, I'm gonna be like, okay, so here's what we gonna do. We are gonna have you attempt these things, and that could be the niche. As a janky ass person who don't know makeup, which a lot of people are not talented as, or as talented as, how can we learn from you and your content, right? So she's applying eyeliner and it looks bad, and
Like
it's
an angle.
yeah, but now, and then the angle of the video could be, oh, I watched this person who gave me a tip, so let's try it out. If it works, maybe that's a better angle for you. So you really need to know
Where
who
you're
you
at.
are, what you're good at. If it's dancing, it's dancing. If it's singing, it's singing. Okay, that's obvious. But if you can't, you're not a triple threat. Where does your other threats lie at? So I think it's not really about even touching the phone first. It's about being able to hone a personality behind that, because I think a lot of people who are successful has this personality that they know kind of who they are and what they're good at, or what they're, I guess, very interested at, and be able to share that honestly. Because if you can't be able to translate that, I don't know if that's gonna work. And that it has to be, again, honest.
No, that makes complete sense.
Yeah.
And that's a great answer, honestly.
Diba?
Yeah.
Because if I have a kid, like,
You're not gonna force it upon them. Yeah.
hindi nga magaling mag-taekwondo, hindi pa marunong sumayaw. Saan ba tayo? Iba. Hanap tayo ng iba. There's so many things.
So many things.
But that's what I want to say also. If I had a kid, like, well, I would say there's so many other things. Okay, taekwondo not your thing. Okay, ballet is not your thing. What else? Oh, you like worms. Okay. Sige. Showcase natin yung mga worm. It's still interesting.
Yeah.
Still find a way how to make it work and what's so interesting. Wow, ganun palang mga worm. Okay, ganon.
I like
that's
that.
what I would be. I won't force you into a hole that you're not good at or you won't enjoy.
Yeah.
Because if you can't do it for 10,000 videos, don't even do it.
True.
Like, just
You have to love what you do.
you have to
enjoy
like,
it.
It inspires you to do more.
No, that's a great.
That's how
thank
I'm
you.
gonna be.
That's
Tita
a great
Jazz, like that.
Tita Jazz.
I want worms.
No, that's super helpful answer
Diba?
for people that maybe they are trying to figure it out. And
Yeah.
I think figuring out who you are first is
Yeah,
definitely super important.
Hone that thing. Yeah.
Okay, question number 2.
Okay.
To help me with ideating and like thinking of ideas, content, where do you suggest I can find inspiration from? Do I watch TV? Do I watch Netflix? Do I go on YouTube? Where do you suggest I can find?
Like everywhere.
Everywhere.
Honestly, I say this all the time. Inspiration comes from everywhere, anywhere, anytime.
I agree.
You just gotta allow yourself to be a sponge, because it's
Ooh, girl,
honestly
I
out
completely
there.
agree.
It's like floating everywhere. But since if your mind is muddled and it's
And not open.
hindi na siya makakasuck, the sponge won't be able to suck anything else out or anything else in. So I think it's everywhere. Anything that's interesting, maybe even hangouts with friends. Somebody says a joke and you're like, that joke's so funny. I think I can make like a content out of it.
I do think that way too. Like someone
Yeah.
says something and I'm like, I write it down. I'm like,
Benta
that's
to,
good for the script.
Yeah, life imitates art, art imitates life. So
Creating art
honestly, it's
out of life.
everywhere. And especially when you're happy, I feel like you get to absorb a whole lot more than when you're again. Well, I guess also when you're sad, you can absorb a lot of things, but in a different light. Because I think both emotions, happy or sad or angry, they're good emotions to have because they're quite clear in a sense that with what you're feeling at the moment, especially when it comes to like people asking about heartbreak. I'm like, great, you broke up. Like, this is a great moment because it has given you certain clarity about that dickweed. So, and about yourself too. Like, are you gonna accept that dickweed's like treatment of you? Like,
Yeah.
I welcome it. Just welcome it because then it's telling you something, it's teaching you something, and it also can inspire you with something else. So
No.
anything, everything, anywhere, all at once. Ginawang second movie.
No, I completely agree. I mean, that's what I also touched up on. Like, was you can create anything out of the things that happen to you. Like if you're at a heartbreaking, at a painful moment in your life, like, okay, how can I put this into my art?
Yeah.
Should I write? Should I dance it out? Like, there are so many beautiful things you can create.
Oh yeah, I remember when I was like really down, and my mom's a Buddhist, so she invited a monk. Legit.
Wow.
She invited a monk to talk to me through Zoom, and to teach about certain things. And one of the best things that I took from her, and I honestly feel like everyone should try to learn and experience Buddhism. 'Cause
I read about Buddhism.
I think it's a modern folks. I wouldn't say religion. I know it's a religion. But for those who are kind of testy about it, maybe let's say it's a way of thinking.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And what she said was like, when you're bothered by people, let's say you're envious of certain people, or you're envious about certain things that people have and stuff like that, or when you're angry about something or someone that did this to you, she said that you are actually not in control of your mind. And you have to get to a point where you are in control of your mind, because would you want to be controlled by your mind? Would you want Mojo Jojo XP? No, you don't, right? You want to have your own mind. You want to have your own personality. You want to have your own person. So when you feel envious because of something else that happened to you, or you feel angry because something that happened to you by someone else, that person is controlling you. And I always think about that because I'm such a prideful person.
That's a great, yeah.
I'm like,
Why
how dare you control my mind? Like, how dare you control my mind? The earrings are off kasi peke siya. Sakit na. But
I love that. No, for sure. Because, I mean, you are able to tell yourself, like, what people think of you, and if you tell yourself that's how you are, that's gonna affect.
Sila may control sa'yo, bro. What the heck? Aren't you so offended? I was so offended when I heard that. And I'm like, I'm allowing this person to control me. So I'm like, and I told her that's so hard. Because sometimes your emotions are up there and stuff, and but then what you also told me offended me to a personal level that I don't want that to ever happen again. So she said that's why you have to practice mindfulness. Be mindful about you, be thoughtful about you and how you control your own mind. And I'm like, that's hard.
It's hard.
Sis, that's hard. That's what we practice.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh.
No, I love it. I love Buddhism.
Tomorrow.
I love Buddhism. I read about it a lot, and there's a lot that you can get out of it, because basically Buddha is saying life is suffering.
Yeah.
And when you accept life is suffering, then you can see the beauty of it.
Oh, yeah.
So, no, I love that. Thank you for that. And last question. She's been giving, like, answers all day, man. Yeah. Last question is, in the influencer world, how do I start building more relations and, like, building my clientele, just getting out there more?
Yeah. So I guess if you really want to be in this industry, or any industry of the matter, I feel like this question isn't just about the influencer world. I think this applies to any job. Yo, people are so important. So it's either the people you went to college with, people you went to high school with. They're the people who gives me the jobs, because they're in that company, right? They're in that agency. So you can't be burning bridges. I think the best thing is don't be a dick.
True.
That's it. Just
be nice.
If you want to be in any industry, don't be a dick.
Actually, that is so freaking true, because the only reason why, like, people helped me, and you guys even helped me and gave me the opportunity to, like, when I was literally no one,
starting out,
was they saw that I was just genuine and passionate and interested, and, like, I think that's where people will help you.
Yeah.
Just be kind.
Yeah, because I think the talent, or, like, honing the talent, or being better at that specific thing comes along the way as well in any job, right? And that's why they have interview processes, I feel like, in certain jobs, because they need to know if will I be annoyed at this person when I see her at 9 a.m, right? Like, will she piss me off with just her presence? If the answer is no, you got the job. Like they know that you aren't there yet, and you still have to know certain processes. Or let's say you're valedictorian, summa cum laude, hindi mo pa rin alam yung galawan sa opisina. So if you are not someone who can, one, handle the pressure, or two, be amicable with people, or be good with people and relate with them, I don't know if you can survive yourself as well. So don't be a dick, right? Like,
just don't be
it's really that easy.
No, it's actually encapsulates so much about life. Just don't be a dick.
Yeah, because I think being like, I had this conversation recently. I'm like, you can go anywhere in the world and still make it, as long as you have people around you that you know that can help you out along the way. Literally, no one can get to where they are. I'm not where I am right now. You aren't where you are right now if it weren't for other people.
So true.
So true.
That is.
Because you're just like this young kid. You have so much gusto, but you don't know shit.
And I guess it's also staying humble.
Yeah.
Like, that you don't know everything.
Staying humble is part of don't be a dick.
True.
Like, right?
Just don't be a dick.
Don't get it hard on. Like, Don't get hard on all the time. Like, you're not 100,000% all the time. Like, you still don't know the ropes of the entire thing, right? And there's so much things to learn that you don't know about. So you stay humble, stay grounded, and keep that hunger alive. I think you're gonna be fine. And being able to relate with all these people, being able to, like, I just thought about this, like, being able to be part of all those orgs that I was part of like 4 or 5 orgs in college. Those people that I met in college are the people that are giving me these jobs. And because I have, like, let's say I know 10 people within those 5 groups, I know 50 people in 50 different job categories now. And those 50 people work with other teams who eventually, let's say, oh, I have this pitch. Who can we pitch? Oh, I know this friend of mine back in college. She does this. Maybe we should try her out. And those other 10 people around them maybe gets to know your name. So it's a whole, like, web. Like, it just goes on and on. So having that good relation is so important to life, period.
So moral of the story again, don't be a dick.
Period.
Okay, so before we close off, I wanted to give you the floor if there's anything you wanted to plug in, like anything you would like to plug, please do.
I wanna plug in yung extension cord kasi gusto ko na mag-charge ng phone. 20% na lang po ako. No, but you can follow me over on TikTok, Instagram, _Jaz Reyes. Me and my brother have a YouTube account on YouTube. It's Jaz, JXJAZ, the gay one, the gay brother. If you need OB services, Doc JP Reyes. Oh, also, if you want any ads made, filmmaking stuff, or if you are an advertiser from an agency, Simago, the production
which I will be interviewing him after.
Yeah, and if you want to hire me, please hire me. Just message me on my Instagram. I'd love to collaborate.
Well, thank you so much, Jaz Reyes. It was an absolute honor to have you on, and there's so much I feel like people would listen and learn about your craft. There's so much wisdom that you were able to share with me, and I'm very grateful for that. So, thank you so much for sharing that with me and being serious, because I know that's not your thing.
No.
But yeah, I'm so happy with this episode. I'm very excited for people to hear this.
Good luck sa editing.
Yes.
Ano yung bus ko, yung G-liner, wait lang.
Okay, so everybody, if you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe and please give me a thumbs up.
Oh, yeah.
And
comment.
If you're on Spotify, yes, comment too. If you're on Spotify, please follow me and rate me 5 stars, please.
Kasi kung hindi, sasamahan ko yung G-liner, pupunta kami sa bahay. And that's being a dick, so don't be a dick.
Don't be a dick. So thank you guys for watching this episode, and thank you again, Jaz.
Yay,
this was a fun one. Bye, peace.
EV Films.
Thank you guys for tuning into this week's episode. Next week we have Miguel Soto, established commercial film director, and we have a little bit of a filmmaking 101 for the aspiring filmmakers and film directors out there. Lots to learn from this one, so